Welcome back to AD Morgan Media, the world of skimmer, high technology and deep sea mining. I wanted to have a brief talk in this presentation about the area and deep sea mining. So under the authority, which is the International Seabed Authority, this whole world was built and developed based on a lot of background research. So the topic of interest in terms of writing these novels, or the series of novels today, is of course oceans governance and access to critical minerals or deep sea minerals up to 4,000 metres below sea level using subsurface mining skiffs or skimmers and high technology, which is what the plot in the novel is based on. So to ground the research, because it's grounded science fiction set in 2040s, so there was a lot of background research and projection forward of current circumstances around accessing critical minerals on the high seas or in exclusive economic zones. So some of the articles that informed how this whole regime might control access to minerals in the area. One here is Oceans and the Law of the Sea, of course. So first just got a good overview of oceans governance and where it was at in terms of regulating access to critical minerals under the International Seabed Authority. And of course a lot of it's environmental at the moment, so not only tenure holders, leasing rights and contracting rights to extract minerals on behalf of leaseholders and state sponsor authorities, but a lot of it's environmental, which is why it's quite controversial at the moment. So another article or paper that informed development of this whole regime and the world of skimmer was incorporating transparency into the governance of deep seabed mining in the area beyond national jurisdiction, which is of course the high seas, and that was in the Marine Policy Journal. So I got reading that as well, because the narrative had to be informed by current regulation under oceans governance or UNCLOS, and of course proposed regulation under the International Seabed Authority for using these skimmers to stop at 100 metres below sea level, deploy a communications streamer and send their drones up and down to collect manganese nodules or polymetallic nodules. And that's the enforcement of the regulatory regime in the world of skimmer comes under the sea hunters, of course, because levies are paid by contractors and leaseholders to the authority, which then funds the sea hunters to enforce compliance with the requirements of deep sea bed mining in the area. And so I got further into this and looked at security at sea, or safety of life at sea, of course, which is another set of regulations that control maritime security, and in particular on the high seas, where it's anyone's game. So I started reading some information about that. One here I got was sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. So I started looking at that draft document a while ago. I mean, I've been researching this for quite a while now. Some of these documents are from 5 years ago, so there's been quite a bit of progression in the world of skimmer since then. But I did start looking at how you enforce a security and compliance regime for deep sea mining in the area. Another good article that informed the development of that in the world of skimmer was Maritime Security and the Convention on the Law of the Sea background. So that informed the practices by the sea hunters and skimmers in meeting the compliance requirements for extraction of seabed minerals in the area. Because of course the sea hunters can board skimmers to do compliance monitoring, check for environmental sampling, that they're not beyond the thresholds. So when they're mining, when the skimmers are mining, they have to collect samples from the water column and the seabed, and the sea hunters will board subsurface through a topside hatch and breaching pod connection, and they will board during the mining operation without interrupting it, check the logbooks and check for environmental compliance, of course. Another one that I looked at was for maintaining security at sea in the area was the Congressional Research Service Proliferation Security Initiative, talking about how to maintain security on the high seas in the area. And from that I also looked at boarding skimmers and how they would manage unlawful acts of violence against the safety of maritime navigation. So I looked at that as well, and what happens when there's non-compliance, and how that should crucially align with safety of life at sea. In other words, what can the sea hunters do or not do if there is non-compliance or a breach of regulations and security in the area? And included in that was such articles as Investigating Crimes at Sea, which I covered in detail, and also more importantly the regime of boarding ships in international maritime law I also had a look at. Because essentially the sea hunters can disable a skimmer as long as it does not impact on safety of life at sea and pose an unnecessary risk to life of the crew on board skimmers. So under that regime, they cannot force a skimmer to surface, and they cannot damage a skimmer beyond the ability of it to maintain its life support systems. So they were the key things under maritime law, maritime security initiatives, and safety of life at sea, all under this overarching UNCLOS and International Seabed Authority regulations under the authority. And then the last one that came under that was reframing climate change as a core national security issue, and that was a nice little article there. And that built in quite nicely to the world of skimmer and working in the area, because that was another thing, that you cannot force a skimmer to surface because of exposure to the risk of super weather cells or inclement weather at the surface, and also piracy, which is a big thing in 2040 in the area because critical minerals are so valuable. So there's a whole background research there about how the world of skimmer evolved and deep sea mining developed in the area under high technology rollout by the year 2040. And of course, once I've written the 6 novels in the series, in my head is of course the prelude to that whole world, and building up how all this came to be, and that's another story in and of itself. So I'll leave it there for now. If you have any questions, get on the YouTube channel, Facebook page or Instagram, and with the handle at AD Morgan Media, and we will talk soon.